Gospel Hour is a radio ministry of Full Gospel Church International. Our mission is to lead people to become devoted to Christ, build relationship with one another, and influence their community. For today's message, let's join Bishop Samuel N. Mensah.
Thank you very much. As we have declared that this year is a year of our relationship, and we are beginning our series on the essence of relationship. And so I would like to pick it up from part 3 of the series of the value of relationship. The value of relationship. Tell somebody the value of relationship. The value of relationship. One of the things we established in this particular series, we said that prayer is the key, but people are the door. Prayer is the key, but people are the door. Relationships are what that makes civil society to work. Without relationship, civil society will be in chaos. It is through the agency of other people that God answers our prayers. So prayer is the key, but people are the door to which answers can be granted you. And this will allow us to appreciate Luke chapter 6:36, where it says, give and it shall be what? Shout it. Give and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, shaken together, shall men give unto you. Why didn't the scripture say, shall God give it unto you? Why didn't the scripture say, as you give, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, shall God give it to you? Why didn't the scripture say God? But rather the scripture said men. Prayer is important, which is the key. But people are the door to which God will answer your prayers. So do not underestimate the value of people. You can pray and pray and pray. But if you do not value the people, there cannot be answers to your prayers. And so in part 3, if prayer is the key and people are the door, what do you have to do there? Number 1, handle the doors well. Handle the doors well. Now, we will look at Matthew chapter 17 and verse 24 through to 27. Matthew 27, 24 through to 27. When they had come to Capernaum, talking about Jesus, those who received the temple tax came to Peter and said, does your teacher not pay the temple tax? And he said, yes. And when he came into the house, Jesus anticipated him, saying, what do you think, Simon? From whom do the kings of the earth take customs or taxes? From their sons or from strangers? Peter said to him, from strangers. Jesus said to him, then the sons are free. Nevertheless, lest we offend them, go to the sea, cast in a hook, and take the fish that comes up first. And when you have opened its mouth, you will find a piece of money. Take that and give it to them for me and for you. Now, this particular scripture simply was suggesting that Jesus got to the Sea of Galilee, and the temple tax collectors came to Jesus, and they were asking the disciples, does your master also pay tax? They said, when they had come to Capernaum, those who received the temple tax came to Peter and said, does your teacher not pay temple tax? And Peter gave them a very rough and nasty answer that looked, why are you demanding such a tax from the master? But Jesus realized that, listen, most of his activities will center in the temple, will center around the synagogue, and he will always need to go to the synagogue. And he said, in order that we might not offend them, so that I can have access to the temple, let me honor my obligation, so that I will not become an offense to them. It means that he decided that if prayer is the key and people are the door, number one, I must know how to handle the door well. People can become bridges of good fortunes or blockage to your destiny. Listen, people can become bridges to your good fortune or blockade to your destiny depending upon how you handle that door to your future. Everyone we meet in this life is a potential door to your destiny. Now, let me say that again. You need to hear that very well. Everyone we meet in this life is a door to your life. And there is a way to handle that door if you want that door to grant you access. You know, once in a while when visiting certain homes, you know, we come across some doors that we are not used to that require the ability to operate. And most often, you may not know how to handle it until your host will have to walk you through, show you how to handle that door and to open that door. You know, sometimes when you go to that house, because of the complexity of the door, you are probably trying to open, and then your host will say, hold on. Let me just show you how to open this particular door. And so he will have to show you, otherwise, in your attempt of holding the door, you will damage the door. One of my pastor's friends, you know, my sons in the Lord, one time said, early part of the 90s, you know, when he traveled to USA, he got into the bathroom, and you know, the bathroom has different types of motors and handles and what have you. So he got in, he poured the liquid soap on himself, and then when it came to the opening of the shower, man, he couldn't know how to do it. I mean, it was different, totally different from what he knew in his country, Ghana. And he tried it and tried, and the water was not just flowing. Meanwhile, he was naked with soap, and he didn't know what to do. So he quickly took a towel, wrapped it around his waist, opened the door because he was with another friend, and then he came out asking his friend, Charlie, I can't open the tap. And then his host, one of the boys in the house, a white guy, saw him and said, Mommy, the black guy, he's naked, the black guy. And so he quickly ran into the bathroom again. He was struggling for almost 15 minutes, didn't know how to open the shower. You know, there are certain things you may not know until somebody has to coach you. You know, when some doors are not handled well, they can injure you, they can hurt you. Have you realized there are times perhaps you are trying to close a door, either you didn't handle the door well, and all of a sudden somehow your finger probably was just at the edge, and you bang it, achoo! And then you put your finger in your mouth, and it's like, man, you really want to even punish yourself. Why? Because you didn't handle the door well. Some of you have brought pain to your own life. Some of you have disorganized and hurt your own destiny because doors were brought into your life. You had access to certain doors of your life, but you refused to handle the door well, and now it is driving some pain and some hurt in your own life. You hurt yourself because you didn't treat that door well. You know, Galatians 6:7 says, whatever a man sows, that shall he reap. Therefore, if you sow friendliness, you will reap friendship. You will reap friends. If you sow, on the other hand, hostility and unfriendliness, you will reap unfriendliness. You are complaining that people are not friendly to you, then check what seed you are sowing. You are complaining that people are not nice to you, check the seed you are sowing. If you want to be friends, if you want people to be friends to you, then be friendly. If you want people to smile to you, then smile yourself. If you want people to be nice to you, then be nice to people. Whatever you sow, that is what you will reap. If you intend to keep your relationships, you must ensure you do the things that you need to do well. But if you want the relationship to have negative impact, then some of the things you do will bring negative impact on your life. But there are things that you must do. We call it the protocol of relationship. If you don't follow certain protocols, you will have problems. Now, protocol is defined as an official procedure or system of rules governing affairs of state, organizations, institutions, homes, or relationships. It is also defined as the accepted code of procedure or behavior in a particular situation. So protocol is an acceptable behavior or procedure in a certain, situation. So if you want to maintain the door well and handle the door, there is a protocol of relationship. For example, you can't walk into the presence of the head of state and then say, "Hey, Jack, Mr. President, man, how is it, man?" You can't do that. The protocol of relationship would not allow you to do that. And if you don't respect the protocol of relationship, that door will be shut on you. Knowing and understanding and accepting and respecting the protocols of relationship with people you meet, they are critical. For example, you can't just walk into a chief executive's office, someone you really didn't know, they introduce him to you just for the first time, you walk into his office, and then you sit on his desk, and then you are having a chat with him, and then you are moving and trying to look into his files and what have you. That protocol will not allow you. Once you do that, whatever potential destiny which you have been praying about, and perhaps is the door to that answer, will be shut on you. And then you start blaming witches and wizards. But the point is that, and the interesting thing is that you have become your own witch and you become your own wizard. Every person you see is a potential door to your blessing. Your talent, your skill, your prayer, and the grace on you can open the door. But your integrity and your regard for good etiquette will maintain that door. If you are not polished and then you misbehave, it can affect that door to your life. Number two, how do you value and maintain the door? Two, understand the purpose of the relationship. Number one, I said, first of all, we established that prayer is the key. People are the door. Therefore, number one, handle the door carefully. Number two, understand the purpose of the relationship. Jesus knew his mission in the world. He said, in order that we might not offend them, so that the door to the synagogue will not be shut on me, let us do what is right by paying the tax. Understand the purpose of the relationship. He was called and accused as the friend of sinners. And he told Zacchaeus in Luke chapter 19:10, he said, "For this purpose the Son of Man came, to save and to seek that which was lost." And so he told his audience, the reason why you see me with friends, the reason why I spend time with sinners, the reason why I spend time with prostitutes, the reason why I spend time with these unbelievers, it is for the fact that I have come for their sake. He defined the purpose of the relationship. So when you get into relationship and you build relationship with people, you need to define the purpose of it. For example, a brother sees a nice girl in church or a nice girl in society, and he's extra nice to the person. He has been very nice, and he has spent maybe 6 months, 1 year in relationship, and you haven't told this lady anything, but you are just nice. And then perhaps after a year or so, the lady gives in to a proposal and accepts somebody else's proposal, and then you say, well, you hurt me, you broke my heart, you offended me. He said, but I was interested in you, but you never defined the relationship. But you never told her about your intention. You never expressed it, but you were just extra nice. You see, if you do not define the relationship, nobody can define it for you. You see, you get into a relationship with your boss, you don't define the relationship, and you think that you can just relate with your boss like your friend or like your buddy. You need to define the relationship. There are some relationships also, maybe you get into a relationship with a rich, somebody you are hoping he will invest in your business or will invest in something. You have not explained it, and you are so nice, you are always there to help him, to solve his problems, to fix things, but you have not expressed your intention. He's not too sure what you want. At the end of the day, if he's not responding to you, say, well, look at them, he's callous. He's not just being sensitive. But how can he be sensitive? You haven't told him what you want. You haven't told him, why you want to build this relationship. Learn to define the relationship. Jesus said, I am a friend of the sinners. It is for this reason I am on planet Earth here. The third thing we need to appreciate and to admire is that number 3, protect the confidentiality of the relationship. Let me repeat that. Protect the confidentiality of the relationship. And you can write this down, Genesis 9:20 to 23. Let me read that. And Noah began to be a farmer, and he planted a vineyard. Then he drank of the wine and was drunk, and became uncovered in the tent, in other words, naked. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his 2 brothers outside. But Shem and Japheth took a garment, laid it on both their shoulders, and went backwards and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces were turned away, and they did not see their father's nakedness. Number 3, if you want to enhance relationship, protect the confidentiality of the relationship. Someone you see and know from afar. You have admired that person for all these years, and for some miraculous reason, God gives you access to that person. This is a man or a woman you have admired for many, many years. This is a man or a woman you have admired. He's been like a mentor. He has inspired you at a distance, and now you have access to him. And so now you begin to build a close relationship. Most often you get shocked. Most often you get surprised, because you would then realize that he is not an angel. Every human being has weaknesses. Every human being has shortcomings. Every human being has something negative. So you begin to see, so this guy that I have admired him from that far, I have admired him from afar, I have really respected him and honored him. These are some of his weaknesses. And because you now have access to him, you now see his weaknesses, you begin trumpeting it outside. You begin exposing it outside. You begin unveiling his nakedness outside. You damage the relationship. The next time you take a phone and you call, they tell you there is no more access. Protocol, prevents you from having access. You wonder what has happened. You prayed for it, but you never knew how to protect confidentiality. You expose him outside, he closed the door on you, and now everything has begun and has damage in your life. The children of Noah ran in, and it was Ham who went in, saw the nakedness of the father, and the next important thing he should have done was to cover the nakedness, but rather went to broadcast it to his children, to his brothers. His brothers came with a cloth and came backwards and covered the nakedness of the father. And we need to understand that in every relationship, you will get to know the weakness of the other. And especially married couple will tell you, that when you marry, you realize that after all, the one you married was not an angel. Has so many shortcomings. And you admired him from afar, you were excited about him, and then the moment you go to bed, for you to realize for 2 hours you can't sleep. When he snores, the next door neighbor will hear that. And then you wonder, man, this guy that I have admired him, this great person, look at even the way he sleeps. Look at the way she is sleeping. Look at the way he is snoring. Protect the confidentiality of the relationship. Proclaim it not on the streets of Ascalon. Lest the daughters of the Philistine be glad. Lest the daughters of the uncircumcised rejoice. Don't publish this story about the demise of Saul. Don't publish it. Even though he was a victim, he knew that the relationship was that bad. He respected the position of Saul. He respected the anointing over Saul. And he protected the confidentiality of the relationship. Most often, most of us damage our leaders. We damage our church pastors. And we forget that even though you may know him, he's so close to you, he has his own shortcomings. But it doesn't mean you will ruin his life. It doesn't mean you will take his weaknesses to the public and begin to discuss that. Learn to protect the confidentiality of the relationship you have with people. Tell somebody, tell it not in God. Don't proclaim it publicly. Now, the fourth thing I want you to understand in appreciating the dog, number 4, appreciate the uniqueness of people. Every human being was created in the form of God and in the likeness of God. So funny people. We live in different cultures and in different traditions. Therefore, appreciate one another and appreciate the cultures of one another. Appreciate the various tribal positions of one another. You must understand that we are different, we are unique. Everybody cannot be you, you cannot be everybody. We are placed on different positions, we are placed in different positions and different rankings, and we are within different social status. But let us appreciate one another and respect people for who they are. But let the rich respect the poor, let the poor respect the rich. Treat people who come into your path and your life as human beings. Don't use people. Love people and use things. Love people and use things. Treat people with respect and with dignity. The fact that you occupy this position today doesn't mean that all those under you are nothing. Tomorrow, you may not be there. They could be in that position. Treat anyone who comes your way as a potential person that God brings into your path. Treat them with respect. Treat them with honor. Remember, everyone was conceived by a woman, and everyone was born by a woman, and everybody has been created in the image of God. Treat people like human beings and don't treat them like doormats. The last point I would like to leave with you is this. Relationships should be of mutual benefit. Relationship should be of mutual benefit to one another. Okay? It should be of mutual benefit. Now, if you read in 2 Samuel chapter 9, you can write it down, 2 Samuel chapter 9, verse 1 and 2. Now, there was a beautiful relationship between Jonathan and David. You know, for Jonathan was drawn to David because of David's courage and military prowess, because of David's courage and military skills. On the other hand, David was drawn to Jonathan not because of who he was, but David came from a very poor home and was connected to a prince. And so for David, it was a noble opportunity. Jonathan was attracted to David because of David's courage and military skills. David, however, was connected to Jonathan because he was coming from a background of poverty, poor person. Nobody knew him. But he had the privilege of being connected to a prince. That was a golden privilege for him. However, the relationship brought mutual benefit to one another. The relationship brought mutual benefit. Jonathan delivered David from the trappings and the traps of the father when the father wanted to kill him on a number of occasions. Jonathan helped David to escape from all these attempts of the father's attempt on his life. But guess what? When David became king, and in 2 Samuel chapter 9, he asked a question: is there anybody in the house of Saul that I might show him mercy for the sake of my friend Jonathan? Relationship must be of mutual benefit. When we relate with one another, the question is, what do you bring to the table to enhance my life? And what are you also bringing to the table to enhance, my life? What am I also bringing to the table to enhance your life? Relationship cannot be one way. So when we are into relationship, whether marital relationship, both the man must be a blessing, the woman must be a blessing. The two of you must be a blessing one to another. If it is only a one-way relationship, it will not stand. For some of us, when we enter into relationship, we just want a one-sided relationship. It's only what we can get, what we can get, what we can get, what we can get. But you are not ready to give. You are not ready to give. And when that happens, you damage that door that God has opened into your life. Because relationship must be mutual. What is it that you have to offer? And what is it that you expect others to have? You must be a blessing to the person must be a blessing to you. But the question, how do you do that? Learn to have an encouraging voice. In other words, learn to encourage one another and be nice to one another. Do what you say and mean what you say. Have an encouraging voice to inspire people. Care about others. Act with reliability. Act with integrity. Let people believe you for what you say. Be reliable. Relationship must be of mutual benefits. People, prayer is the key. People are the door. How do you handle the people? Handle the doors well. Don't walk away from the relationship by banking the door and damaging the bridge, because tomorrow when you are returning, that bridge you have damaged cannot be there to allow you access. Too many of you have damaged the bridge behind you. Too many of you, as I speak now, you hear me on air, you have damaged, you bent some bridges behind you. And now it's so difficult to go back because there is no bridge to cross to the other side. For some of you, the very water that quenches your thirst, you have muddied the water. You have muddied the water. When you took the drink, you muddied the water. Now you are thirsty, and that water cannot quench your thirst again. You have infested it with disease. You've infested it with hatred. You've infested the water with destruction. All kinds of things. You've muddied the water. Remember, value the people God brings into your life. I pray that this year you will walk through your life and find out what are the bridges that I have damaged, and go back and fix those broken bridges. Go back and repair the broken bridges, because you can pray and you can fast, but the key to your answer are the bridges you have broken and damaged. You need to fix them for God to respond to your prayers. Let's rise on our
Jesus is the answer for the world today.
Thank you for listening to Full Gospel Hour, and it's our prayer that your life is transformed for victorious living. We believe no matter where you are in life, you can be better. Join Bishop Samuel N. Mensah at Emmanuel Mensah Chapel of the 5-Star Church of Full Gospel Church International, behind Obonu FM, Stadium Road, Community 1, Tema. For our friendly services on Sundays, join any of our branches for practical life-transforming teachings. We will be glad to hear what the Lord has done in your life. To correspond to Bishop Samuel N. Mensah, please write to Mensah, spelled MENSAH, at omegaleadership.org, or Full Gospel Media, Full Gospel Church International, P.O. Box BT 427, Tema, Ghana, or Full Gospel Hour, P.O. Box CO 1326, Tema, Ghana, or telephone 0303 202260 or 0303 203435 and 0243 277084. FGCI, Transforming Lives on Purpose. Full Gospel Hour is brought to you by Menergy International Ghana Limited, a one-stop shop for the provision of logistics services to oil fields in West Africa. Menergy, your total solution to oil and gas logistics needs. At Menergy, we make things happen. For future inquiries, please log on to www.menergyinternational.com.